Hi everyone, let's get started on lesson 1, the simpler stories. I am starting with my decorations. I have a close-up of my owls and a full photo at night or in the evening where I have all my decorations out. I put a die cut that says spooky season is here, trimmed off one that says magical moments, and put that on the two photos, and that's it, because my main story is going to be on the other side. And I like the idea of, after I do my title page, which I'll do later on, I like the idea of opening up and seeing the decor. I just love that. I love my decor, and it's just so special to me. And that's what I talked about in my journaling right here, is how I acquired some of my pieces and how special they are, and how I have wound up with a lot of really special pieces and even some handmade stuff like that spooky nail art. I made that myself, and I love my decor and adding to it every few years or so. My collection is getting a little out of control with Halloween, so I've slowed down a little bit. This next simple story is about weird weather, and I'm really thankful that I got to document this story, because we don't get lightning storms around here, and this just really reminded me of being in a cabin in Montana when I was a kid and seeing the lightning. And it was just special to share that with my husband and just be the two of us. So now I have this wonderful, meaningful story documented. I cut out some letters that say weird and weather so I could put that on the front with some vellum that I had in my stash. I am going to painstakingly cut some small foam pieces. That way I can pop dot weather, because I wanted it to be lifted up, obviously, and I just didn't want it to get lost in the vellum. I'll also add some glitter glue in a little bit to the top of the weird letters, because they are digital letters. They have the appearance of glitter, so I wanted to add to that. Another thing I wanted to mention is that if your photos are not the best of quality, I hope that does not discourage you from still documenting the story. This was a few iPhones ago when I took this photo, many iPhones ago, and so the picture is not the best quality for the lightning, and I didn't have such a great selfie of my husband and I, but I did the best that I could with the editing and turned our selfie black and white, and I still printed the photos, and to me they look great. They look fine, and I don't know why I haven't told this story before. I think the photos were discouraging me, but I'd like to put that reminder out there for you that don't let the quality of the photos deter you if the story is meaningful, because the story was very meaningful. And this photo of my husband and I, so simple, but it is still to this day one of my favorite photos of us just enjoying a random lightning storm that we never get. I don't even know if we've had one since then, but I love this wonderful story, and I'm so glad I got to do 13 stories from 2015 to kind of look back and see what was going on in this season of life. Now, the lightning did have purple in it, so I got out some sequins, a little moon, and also some black sequins. And I just use an EK Success blue pen. I've used it for years on my sequins, and for me, it has worked great. I haven't really had any issues with my sequins falling off. So once I have those sequins glued on, I can go ahead and move on to the next page. Now, I'm not putting anything in the page protectors because I do want to take some photos, of course, so that's why you don't see me putting things in the page protectors. I also took another die cut that was meant more for the fall, these moments, and I just trimmed off the floral portion of it. That way I could use it. On the back of this page protector is the leaf hunt photos. I talked about in my journaling how one of the really fun things that my daughter and I did was leaf hunts. We would read seasonal books all the time, and that's the story after this. And one of the ones that we read over and over again was about leaf hunts and different types of leaves. And we live in a neighborhood with lots of different leaves. So this was one of our seasonal activities, is to get some sort of bucket and go leaf hunting. And it's so special to have done this with my daughter. And I took a traveler's notebook insert that says October documented, and then I'll adhere it to a white piece of cardstock so I can do some close-ups of the leaf and also the story, because this is just another way that I taught my daughter about different leaves and just had fun celebrating the season. I probably mentioned this in my introduction, but as a former preschool teacher, like, teaching my kids these kind of things came kind of naturally to me, and my daughter enjoyed them, so that made it even better. One of the reasons that I decided to use the Traveler's Notebook insert is not only because I loved the pattern, but when I do my October daily projects, or even December daily, or just like the fun festive albums, I really love how you can include different sizes, and it just adds to the variety and of the album. So it's so fun to just mix it up when you're making an album. I took the white cardstock, added some yellow pattern paper up at the top, and my photo close-up of the leaves, a little word strip that said Autumn Adventures, I believe. Below that is all the journaling about our leaf hunt and taking our wagon around the neighborhood to go find some leaves. I blew up one of the leaf close-ups on a 6x8, and then I went ahead and adhered it to white cardstock that is sized to outside the page protector, so 7 inches by 8.25 inches. I also put a die cut cluster up in the right corner that says Everyday Beauty, and added in some leaves to finish up that little simple story. And the back of this is going to be where I add in the books. So the books is going to be the last part of the simple stories. I took the books that we still have, I took them and I went ahead and took a picture, kind of a flat lay picture of the favorites. I have so many fond memories of reading these books, and my daughter does too. Sometimes she'll still ask me, hey, can we read this book? And we do. So I decided that I would have this large photo, and because of that, I would need a flap to lift up and have some journaling. So I'm going to add in a little cluster of die cuts when I open the flap. I have some wood veneer pieces too that I'm going to go ahead and use for a little bit of embellishments. I mentioned this too in my introduction, that for me, the embellishments were kind of secondary when putting this project together. It was much more about the story and telling the story with these photos and what was meaningful during the month of October. So just 2 wood veneer pieces, a stack of books, and then the other one says Nose in a Book. And I put down 2 die cut flowers behind that stack of books before I adhered it down. Also added in a orange circle too, so it's a nice great cluster with a bunch of little pieces there. Added in a tag and an arrow, and that way that arrow label would anchor the second wood veneer piece, which is Nose in a Book. So I have those pieces, I'll cluster them together, and below that I will put the journaling and talk about all the different books that we really enjoyed during the season. There were so many books that we had, or that we owned, or that we got from the library, because we were always going to the library, visiting and doing story time, and also requesting books. Once I told my daughter about requesting, and once she was old enough, she would tell me what she would want to learn about during the season, and we would be able to get books in that subject. Okay, so I am going to put all of these pieces in. I did have a black number that I'm going to use throughout this album. I just have only a few of them, so I will probably put all of the numbers on later on at some point. But I do want to make sure that I label each individual story, so that way I know. You can see here that I pulled out a 3 because I wanted to see how this black number looked, and I really liked it. So this is where I kind of decide, okay, I'm going to use these numbers to label my different stories. I only had a few of them, not the full number set, so that's why I need to go back and cut out some more. So I'll just add in the 4, and there you go. That is all of my simple stories for lesson 1.